About 40 years ago, I had a really bad motorbike accident and spent several months in hospital, and was told by the end of the treatment that I probably wouldn't walk again. And as a young man, that's something you really don't want to hear. And I had physio from the hospital, and they got me walking on crutches. And at the end of that treatment, the guy, who was fantastic, he was a blind physio, he said, "I don't know what I can do for you, I think that's it." So I was pretty devastated by that. I'd been a farmer and a gardener, and I realised that was probably over, because you can't do that with crutches, really, or I didn't feel that I could do it with crutches. And then I was recommended to go and see a cranial osteopath at the time. And I went to see this guy, and I went in. I was very sceptical. I didn't know what they were going to do. And I laid down on the couch. One of them held my head, and the other one put their hand underneath my back. And they sat there and did nothing for about 20 minutes. And I thought, this is nuts. And I asked them what they were doing, and they said, well, we're just listening to the alignment of your body and the health that's within it. But at the end of the session, I felt really good. I still needed the crutches. It wasn't like a miracle thing where you throw the crutches away and off you walk. But I felt something different, maybe more relaxed. I'm kind of happier in some way that I can't really explain. So I went back twice a week, and in 3 months I was walking. And when that happens to you, like, your life is transformed by that in a major way. And then I began to wonder what I was going to do with my life, like the farming and the gardening career had gone. And I pondered it, and I thought, actually, I'd really like to do what they're doing.
Well, now, this is a word that you managed to learn this morning by repeating over and over again like a little mantra in makeup. What is it again?
Biodynamic craniosacral therapy.
What exactly is biodynamic craniosacral therapy?
And if there is a shorter name to it?
Cranial work is a good way of
cranial
shortening
work,
it.
okay.
So, cranial describes the bones in the skull.
Right.
The initial insight in the work was the whole body expands and contracts, and particularly the bones in the head express this movement of opening and closing.
Oh.
So the skill in the work is to feel those rhythms. It's not just the bones in the skull. All the bones move, all the cells, all the organs expand and contract.
Oh, really?
And the skill of the therapist is to listen to those rhythms and allow them to move in an easier, more balanced, more harmonic way.
So the Body Intelligence Training offers a 2-year foundation course in how to become a biodynamic craniosacral therapist, and it's been divided into a series of seminars or workshops that are 5 days long with 2 months between them. So the idea of that is to absorb information and have some powerful experiences in each seminar, and then go away and integrate it and really make sense of all of that in terms of making contact with practice clients, reading material, a little bit of home study, and the course isn't really academic as such, it's more experiential. The focus of the training is on health. It's about coming into relationship with your own health, and that's an extremely powerful thing in a society that's not oriented to health.
For me, health is something much, much richer, much more nuanced, much more powerful, really. To define my body as just something that isn't in pain really limits who we are as human beings. So for me, there's an incredible range of sensations, an incredible range of phenomena that happen when we're healthy and that we can notice when we're healthy. A sense of being in touch with, engaged with, being grounded in our body. The work is not about forcing things. The work is about making a very, very gentle contact. So the contact in cranial work is a feather-like touch. And we're just listening to this gently pulsing body.
How can we touch someone and be able to differentiate their bodies? So that is using a sensory-based touch. There is no palpation or motion testing in this touch. It is a sensory touch that is highly finessed and is able to differentiate all the different anatomies and structures and motions, both physiological and subtle craniosacral motions that are expressing in the body. So how do we get there?
When we reset the thermostat, when we reset the reflexes and enable people to begin to engage with their body, it's a transformative process. And it's very exciting to watch because it's such a simple idea, and not many other therapists, in my experience, seem to understand that or seem to work with it as powerfully as craniosacral therapy does. We're much more about simple, practical things that work very, very well. We acknowledge the theory, but we keep that very simple and try to draw out the essence of what's important. We give lots of practical examples and lots of exercises for people to do. Exercises to do to treat people and exercises to explore these phenomena I've talked about, these subtle rhythms going on in the body, to explore them in ourselves.
I'm blown away every day with each one of the exercises that we do, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, how different I feel inside my body. The body awareness exercises were verbal exercises on the internet where I could listen to different things that would get me in touch with different parts of my body. So they could range anywhere from feeling into your cranial cavity or feeling into your thoracic or pelvic cavity, your extremities, the space around you.
Let your awareness rest gently on your head, taking the whole volume of your head. Invite the third ventricle to come into your perceptual field. When you come into the third ventricle at the center of your head, it can feel like you've stepped into a large space. See how expansive the third ventricle is in you and the volume of space it wants to occupy. Notice too the quality of potency here and any natural motion. What does it feel like to be in relationship with this space?
It just takes your touch and your level of awareness not only to a deeper level in the body, but more spacious, which is quite new for me.
The training itself has lots of contact sessions within it. These are designed to not only be a vehicle for learning the touch, but also for receiving lots of hands-on sessions so that your system goes through a powerful transformation. So each seminar has up to 8 or 9 table contact sessions which bring your system into a process of change.
What is really good about it is that the client is going away with a deeper understanding of how their body works, and people come in and really quite quickly get the picture that it's their body making all the changes, and they have to connect to their own body to feel what's changing. The body knows where it needs to access its health if it needs it. It knows what the priorities are, And the biodynamic approach is really about the body finding where they need to work first so they can solve the area where they're so fixated on. And that's really beautiful.
The biodynamic approach has become progressively about the practitioner's clarity of perception, and in order to achieve that, there's a powerful self-development needs to occur in terms of physical embodiment and a resolution of traumatization within the physiology.
I had heard of biodynamic craniosacral therapy for a long time. And I'd taken some training, but it was more the biomechanical training about 12 years ago. And I felt like I had gotten some techniques, but I didn't really have the skills to see the shifts happening on the table until I started doing this training. It's nice to be able to move into the state of non-doing rather than actively trying to impose what we are taught to be some sort of significant protocol for the body, which really is kind of shocking because everyone's so individual that the healing process is not a formula.
During the training, we look at many different avenues into felt sense awareness, including movement, introspection, meditational approaches. Often we'll do Qigong forms that are tailored to the craniosacral perspective as a way to understand and feel into your system and to appreciate the nuances of this remarkable therapy.
This course gives nice, clear, simple, illustrated ways of expressing that sense that we're getting in our hands.
What sort of benefits can you get from this sort of therapy? What does it actually do for people? And can it actually, sort of heal and can?
I do cranial work because I get fantastic clinical results. I spent 5 years training as a chiropractor, 3 years as a shiatsu practitioner. I worked around people for a long time. For me, I get incredible clinical results. From a whole range of things, from acute and chronic pain, so people hurt their back or people have long-running sports injury, to people who can't sleep or people who have energy problems. I've also worked with people who've got very, very serious diseases, so helping them cope with medication, helping them cope with coming to terms with their diagnosis. It's also fantastic for stress, for people who have difficult emotional stress, so being depressed or being anxious. Cranial work, I think, is probably one of the best therapies out there for something like panic attacks, things like that. Another thing it's very good for is because it's so gentle and respectful, it works with babies. So, a lot of the work in Europe and in America, it gets well known for is it's working for babies.
Right.
So it's psychological and physiological at the same time.
One way of describing it is sort of silent psychotherapy, really. So we listen to the body tells our stories, and our mind and emotions catch up with what's happening in the body.
I think there's something in this that could really stabilise people's systems, create tremendous balance, and just give them a relationship to tremendous internal resources, which everyone has.